Ever heard of neodymium? Nope, it's not a sci-fi villain, but it might just hijack your tech budget this year. Neodymium is actually a rare earth element, and it's the secret source behind some of the most powerful magnets on the planet. These magnets are so strong, they can lift objects thousands of times their own weight. But here's the kicker. You probably use neodymium magnets every single day without even realizing it. They're hidden inside your headphones, your smartphone, your laptop, and even the electric motor in your car. In fact, if you've ever marveled at how tiny gadgets can pack such a punch, you can thank neodymium and its rare earth cousins. Rare earth magnets, tiny but mighty, and absolutely everywhere in modern tech. They're the unsung heroes of our digital age, quietly powering the devices and machines that make our lives easier, faster, and more connected. From the moment you wake up and check your phone, to the time you wind down with your favorite music or movie, rare earth magnets are working behind the scenes. They're in the tiny speakers that deliver crystal clear sound, the vibration motors that buzz in your pocket, and the hard drives that store your memories. Even the wind turbines generating clean energy and the MRI machines saving lives in hospitals rely on these powerful little magnets. They make your speakers boom, your EVs zoom, and your gadgets, well, work. Without rare earth magnets, our world would look very different. Imagine electric cars that can't accelerate quickly, headphones that sound flat and lifeless, or smartphones that are bulkier and less efficient. That's the reality we could face if the supply of these magnets dries up. And it's not just consumer tech. Industries like robotics, aerospace, and renewable energy all depend on rare earth magnets to push the boundaries of what's possible. In short, these tiny components are the backbone of innovation, enabling the high-performance, energy-efficient technologies we've come to expect. But here's where things get complicated. The global supply chain for rare earth magnets is incredibly fragile. That's because about 90% of these magnets come from one country, China. Over the past few decades, China has invested heavily in rare earth mining and magnet production, building a near monopoly that the rest of the world now depends on. This dominance isn't just about having the raw materials. It's also about having the expertise, infrastructure, and technology to refine and manufacture high-quality magnets at scale. As a result, companies from Silicon Valley to Stuttgart have little choice but to source their magnets from Chinese suppliers. But there's a catch. About 90% of these magnets come from one country, China. This concentration of supply means that any disruption, whether it's a trade dispute, new regulations, or even a pandemic, can send shockwaves through the global tech industry. And that's exactly what's happening right now. In recent months, China has introduced new export restrictions on rare earth materials, citing national security concerns and environmental protection. At the same time, demand for rare earth magnets is skyrocketing, driven by the explosive growth of electric vehicles, renewable energy, and next-generation electronics. Now, with new export restrictions and rising demand, prices are going through the roof. The cost of neodymium and other rare earth magnets has surged by as much as 50% in the past year alone. For manufacturers, this means higher production costs, tighter profit margins, and tough decisions about whether to absorb the extra expense or pass it on to consumers. For you and me, it means that the next time we shop for a new phone, laptop, or electric car, we might be in for some serious sticker shock. And it's not just about price. Shortages and delays are becoming more common as companies scramble to secure enough magnets to keep their production lines moving. Tech giants, they're scrambling, paying up to 30% more just to get non-China supplies. Some are even signing long-term contracts with alternative suppliers or investing in new mining and processing projects in places like Australia, the US, and Canada. But building a reliable, diversified supply chain for rare earth magnets is easier said than done. It takes years to develop new mines, and even longer to build the expertise and infrastructure needed to produce high-quality magnets. In the meantime, companies are forced to make tough choices. Do they delay product launches, redesign their devices to use fewer magnets, or simply pay whatever it takes to stay in the game? Apple, Tesla, even your favorite headphones, they're all feeling the squeeze. Apple has reportedly started looking for new suppliers outside of China, while Tesla is exploring ways to reduce its reliance on rare earth magnets in its electric motors. Meanwhile, smaller companies without the resources of these tech giants are struggling to compete, facing higher costs and longer lead times. The result? Fewer choices, higher prices, and more frustration for consumers. And as the race for rare earth magnets heats up, we could see even more dramatic changes in the tech landscape. From new alliances and partnerships to breakthroughs in recycling and alternative materials. Other countries like Australia and the US are trying to catch up, but replacing China's huge output isn't as easy as swapping out a battery. Mining rare earth elements is a complex, expensive, and often environmentally challenging process. It requires specialized equipment, skilled workers, and strict environmental controls to prevent pollution and protect local communities. Even when new mines come online, it can take years to ramp up production and meet the quality standards demanded by tech companies. And then there's the challenge of building the downstream industries. The refineries, magnet factories, and logistics networks needed to turn raw materials into finished products. Governments around the world are waking up to the strategic importance of rare earth magnets. In the US, lawmakers are pushing for new investments in domestic mining and manufacturing, while the European Union is launching initiatives to secure a stable supply of critical materials. But these efforts face significant hurdles, from environmental concerns and local opposition to the sheer scale of investment required. Some experts warn that it could take a decade or more for new supply chains to fully replace China's dominance. In the meantime, the world remains vulnerable to supply shocks and price spikes. Even the Pentagon is throwing money at the problem. The US Department of Defense has identified rare earth magnets as a critical national security issue, funding research and development to reduce dependence on foreign suppliers. Military applications, from fighter jets to missile guidance systems, rely on these powerful magnets for performance and reliability. Losing access to a stable supply could have serious consequences, not just for the tech industry, but for national defense and global security as well. So, what does this mean for you? Higher prices for gadgets, longer waits for EVs, and maybe a little less magic in your next upgrade. The ripple effects of the rare earth magnet crisis are being felt across the entire tech ecosystem. Retailers are warning of shortages and price hikes, while automakers are struggling to keep up with demand for electric vehicles. Even the most loyal tech fans may have to think twice before splurging on the latest device. And as companies look for ways to cut costs, we could see features disappear, performance take a hit, or innovation slow down. Will recycling or new materials save us? Maybe. Researchers around the world are racing to develop new ways to recycle rare earth magnets from old electronics, reducing the need for new mining and cutting down on waste. Others are experimenting with alternative materials, like ferrite or samarium cobalt magnets, that could offer similar performance without the same supply risks. But these solutions are still in the early stages, and it will take time for them to scale up and make a real impact. In the meantime, the world's appetite for rare earth magnets shows no signs of slowing down. But for now, rare earth magnets are the hottest and most expensive little secret in tech. They're the invisible force powering the next wave of innovation, and the hidden reason why your favorite gadgets might cost a little more or take a little longer to arrive. As the world races to secure a stable supply, one thing is clear: the rare earth magnet crisis is reshaping the future of technology, and we're all along for the ride. Hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell if you want the inside scoop on the next tech shakeup. Stay tuned, because the story of rare earth magnets is far from over, and the next chapter could change the way we power our world.